All right, welcome back to Inside Gateway. It is July 3rd, I believe. So tomorrow is Independence Day. So happy Independence Day one day early. Hopefully you have good plans with family and friends. But we're glad that hopefully you can join us here today. We are glad to have Charity Fischer here. Charity, what is your role currently at Gateway Woods?
I'm the Gateway Farms summer assistant.
Okay, so explain Gateway Farms a little bit to some people that are unaware what that program is, because it just became a program, I think, within the last calendar year.
Well, yeah. Eric Baylor originally started it 5 years ago with just a couple of his residents at Maple when he was still a house parent there. Basically, they farm things and then they sell those things, and it's a way to employ Gateway residents and then kind of teaches them how the world works, I think.
Yeah.
And then, so it's grown quite a lot. We now have 4 different fields we work from, and we have 5 residents employed.
Wow.
So Eric and Marissa Baylor are the managers. Marissa does a lot more of the like PR and organizing and then Eric manages the kids and plants everything and harvests everything and figures out what goes in the boxes and everything else. And then finally it's grown to the point where they wanted another supervisor, and that's where I came in. That I am authorized to take some of the kids. If there's like another project, I can take 2, and then Eric will take 3, and then they'll do a project, and then I'll be able to do another project. And it helps a lot when you have 4 different fields we're working from.
So 3 of them are on campus, and then 1's off-site?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you do transportation off-site?
We have a harvest call truck that was lent to us for the summer that Eric usually uses, but occasionally on Tuesdays when we have the volunteers, we'll take the white truck from the shop. Okay,
very good. So have you learned about different types of produce, or were you pretty much
I mean, I wasn't
expert in that area?
I wasn't an expert in any way, but I mean, most of it's just planting. It's pretty interesting just watching things grow. I don't know. And then being able to harvest is a lot of fun. There's a lot of things that I haven't heard of. We've already worked with like 4 different types of kale so far, which I didn't even know there were that many.
Wow.
And then we have more different varieties coming up. So it's been pretty interesting. I've learned about certain vegetables that I didn't know about before, and then different ways that they grow that I didn't know about, and just I don't know, it's just kind of overall been a good, like, immersive experience of just getting in and getting your hands dirty, and, like, we were weeding this morning, and just kind of getting in the dirt, getting sweaty, working hard. It's been really good.
Very good. So, yes. No sound?
It says error loading, so I'm not sure if it's working or not.
Okay. Well, bear with us here. If you have any questions, please chime in. So you've been working now all summer, or just when did you start?
Well, I started June 28th.
Okay.
No, not June, sorry. May 28th.
May 28th, okay. So
that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
So this
week.
is my 6th week then,
okay.
I believe. And I think I was only authorized to work with the kids, like separate, on the 30th of May. So yeah, I believe this is my 6th week. Yeah, 6th week.
Okay. So what is one of the biggest things you've learned kind of since you started at Gateway Farms?
It depends. Do you want to know more like interpersonal stuff or farming stuff?
Let's do both.
Well, I feel like the biggest thing that I've learned so far is that people need patience a lot. I'm working with teenagers now, and I remember when I was a teenager, I don't think I was that smart either. But like, so I've kind of had to learn to show a little bit of grace, is that I've grown a lot in the last couple of years. I'm turning 22 this Sunday, so like, I've grown a lot out of those more childish things. Sure. And even then, I had a respect for authority, and I'm working with teenagers now who don't, and they're still in that kind of like young mindset that I had. So anyway, it's been a lot of just trying to extend grace towards those kinds of attitudes, or, you know, the work ethic that I don't always appreciate, and like, it's been a lot of introspection for me actually is just showing patience towards people.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great lesson for all of us to learn. Whenever you're dealing with people, no matter what job or position you're in, you're always going to have some sort of interactions or relationships, and relationships take work. So, so what about, was that the spiritual or the farming or both? Or
that was kind of both. Just the nature of the job working with teenagers is definitely one where I have to extend myself. And then when I have, just yesterday, hasn't happened much, but I got like quite frustrated, and I didn't behave in the way that I probably should have. I don't think they could really tell how frustrated I was, but like when I was kind of disappointed in myself for that, like show them a little bit more patience. Charity, this isn't their fault. This is kind of, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to take the total blame either, but just kind of trying to show grace.
Well, as a dad, I mean, that's an opportunity for humility and to show my boys, you know, I screwed up, or this is an opportunity to ask for their forgiveness, and sometimes that is the greater lesson for both of us. But it's not always easy. So produce, Gateway Farms obviously does more than the produce. Some like some animal or some livestock.
Oh yeah, in the barn we have pigs and I think a couple cows and chickens that we will send to a butcher's and then we sell at the market.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. You gotta buy a whole chicken depending on the weight. Depends the price, and some bratwurst, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got some breakfast sausage. It was quite tasty. It was very good.
Yeah.
So how are we doing, Emily? Is it?
I'm not sure the Wi-Fi is working correctly, so Andrew is trying to watch and it says it keeps kicking him off. So.
Okay. Well, we'll keep moving. So let's rewind the clock a little bit. When was your first experience with Gateway Woods? Like, just the first time you can remember Gateway Woods?
Well, it was probably either like raising money for Pine House when I was in VBS.
Okay.
I was pretty young, but more intimate view of it I got when I was 11. The Beers, Joe and Heather Beer moved here, and Hannah was my age, and they worked in Maple for 2 years and then Pine for 3, I think.
Okay.
So visiting her and her brothers, then I got to kind of get a look at the houses and kind of what was going on there. And I remember I was just telling one of the residents today about how, like, you know, when I was little, I like wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to live on campus. It was like so much fun. But then my parents in 2013, when I was almost 16, they became house parents. I got a much more intimate view of Gateway then. More the hardships that the parents went through instead of all the fun that the kids got to have, going to the barn, things like that. And that was quite sobering. Is that then my mother's always been very good at building the empathy part, and that I could get frustrated with the residents when they show attitude towards my parents or they're just disrespectful, and then Mom would say, oh, well, you know, they haven't had this in their lives. They haven't had that. And that was good for me then to kind of see, like, these kids come from a whole different culture than I did. And, yeah. That was probably the more intimate. So I was living in Leo, and then I was friends with house parent kids, and then I was a house parent kid, and then now I'm an employee. So it's kind of just been going down the rabbit hole a little bit, getting more and more a look at what Gateway does.
So do you feel in your role today, those stepping stones, if you will, have made your job a little easier or more fulfilled?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine stepping in from, like, Central Illinois Church into Gateway and, like, not really knowing what it was. And all of a sudden working with the residents and Eric and everyone else in the office, it's great to already have that foundation and then the understanding for what a lot of these kids go to. And, like, a lot of them I knew beforehand. Like, Bree, she had been here, and so I already kind of knew her, and that was good. Then we start working together and we can talk more. We already have the foundation for a relationship. Yeah.
No, that's great. And for me, just being a house parent and then kind of being separated but still working in the office and seeing different residents and being able to get to know who they are and have that relationship. Even like now I'm in the school, and so seeing them kind of coming and going and saying hi or whatever, it's just kind of neat. It challenges me. It's like, I'm not just creating logos, or I'm not just doing certain things. There's more purpose to it, and so it helps me have a little bit better perspective. So it's not just about planting kale or pulling those weeds. So that's good. So what's a fun memory that you have from being a house parent kid?
Well, so you sent me this question earlier, and I couldn't really think of a single memory. I remember there are like certain periods of our time at Gateway. Like the one summer, I think it was like 2014, when my parents were doing double duty in Maple and Hickory. Maple at the time had 4 boys, and then Hickory at the time was an all-girls house. That was definitely an interesting contrast. Like sometimes in the same day we would go from one house to the next house and get to see kind of the different ways that these residents interact with each other. So I remember that being a very interesting time in my life, and like I remember a lot of what it was like in the boys' house is that like we just played chess all the time. It was just like fun. With the girls, it tended to be a lot more dramatic. But it was definitely an interesting time in my life. And then one of my other favorites probably was when we went lead in Oak. There was a girl with twins, and then me and Hope each got to have one of the twins. Whenever she wanted to like go take a shower or something, then we'd each get one of the twins. That was always a pretty fun time.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, I mean, we worked with your family a little bit, but we were right around the same time. But just seeing you and Hope around, it seemed like you guys were having lots of fun. Just like that sister relationship, being close in age. Our kids were so much younger, so they didn't really have that same dynamic. But was that great being there with, obviously you have a lot of siblings, but specifically having Hope there with you?
See, that was also a time in my life when up till that summer 2013, I had been living with most of my siblings. And the year before, Andrew had gotten married. And then that August, Philip moved out, Talitha moved out, and then we moved into a new house. So then all of a sudden, when I was used to most of my siblings living in the same house, it was just me and my parents and Hope.
Yeah.
So me and Hope grew a lot together since then. I mean, we were always friends, growing up. We would always play together. But then it became a lot more personal when we started. It was when it was just us, and when we were in a time in our just our ages when we were thinking about different things, and then we were interacting with the Gateway kids and thinking, well, why do we do the things that we do? And the residents seem to think that those are kooky, if you will. But it was always really, really good to have Hope around, and I personally think she's quite a bit more mature than me, so I think she's helped me a lot in certain ways. Again, like the empathy thing is something that's kind of difficult for me sometimes, but she's always been very interpersonal, very good at that. So, having her and Mom, and then even getting to know my dad, who had worked, full time before that, is we became kind of a tighter family unit in that way.
That's great. Any questions or comments?
Dad wants to know what your favorite memory was as a house parent kid, but you already answered that one.
Kind of.
He also wants to know who your favorite sister-in-law is.
My favorite sister-in-law? Has to be Emily Ann Fischer, sitting right behind the camera.
Good answer. So, how can people be involved with Gateway Farms specifically? Obviously, we have the markets, so maybe speak into that a little bit, how that works. Obviously, it's probably a little too late for the subscription, but explain that a little bit for future years. And then, let's just kind of go with that.
Okay, so the subscription baskets are, obviously you subscribe to this basket. Sorry, that was redundant. But every Thursday we have a market, 3 to 6. And during that market, then you can come and pick up your produce. So when we set up the tents, we set it up at the corner of Kloppenstein and Grable Road by the sign. We'll have the market section, and then we have the CSA subscription box section. Okay. So then you come through, and if you have the subscription, then you sign in with one of our residents, and then you go through and pick all your produce. Sometimes it's an either or, And sometimes it's you get this, this, and this, and maybe 2 of these if we have a good harvest. And then if you want to, then you can come back to the market. The market we have every Thursday, but the subscription box we have just every other Thursday.
Yeah.
So this is the off week, but then we'll have market next week.
Okay.
1 week from Thursday. It's always 3 to 6 on Kloppenstein and Grable.
Very good. So come to the market. And we also have Bluffton, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a Bluffton market. Again, this is our off week, but on the weeks when we do the subscription baskets, we go to Bluffton. We go in front of Outdoor Designs, Outdoor Concepts. Yeah, you know this. We set up our tents there by the road. There's a pretty big shopping section, and a lot of the Bluffton people come. We have 40 basket customers down there and 30 up in Leo.
Okay.
So then we'll also set up the market. It's pretty interesting. We get lots of people who just happen to see the tents and they come by and like, oh, what's all this about? So yeah, that's always pretty fun.
Oh, that's great. So what another way outside the market, obviously in the CSA or subscriptions, how can other people support Gateway Farms or get involved?
Well, you could come volunteer at Gateway. On Tuesdays is when we usually do it with volunteers, is that Cooper will lend us just a couple, and we'll usually just work with them in the mornings, but if there's a special amount to do, then we'll also do it in the afternoons. We'll also use the volunteers in the afternoons, but like Kaylee Schambach decided that she wanted to work with us, so like Monday morning and yesterday morning she worked with us, and like she's great. So like if you want to come volunteer at Gateway Woods, like go ahead, we'd be more than happy.
Okay, very good. Yeah, if you want to go out and break some sweat on your brow and
get your jeans a little muddy.
There you go. Is there anything else you'd like to add or comment or thank people?
No, I don't really know.
Okay. Do you have any other comments or questions?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we appreciate what you do for not only Gateway Woods, but Gateway Farms and just your family and the involvement that they've had, not only as their time as house parents, even the first time and then the second time, but just being part of the Leo community. So we just really thank you for that. And just look forward to seeing what the rest of your summer holds. And then do you have any plans after that, or are you kind of going 6 weeks at a time?
Well, I'll be working on a bachelor's
Okay.
starting this fall. So I just finished an associate's, but now I'm going to go
Nice.
into
And what's that in?
engineering technology. My
Okay.
bachelor's will be in mechanical engineering
Nice.
technology.
Very good. MET.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So the auction is right around the corner, and I guess I can ask you, what is a favorite auction memory?
Setting up for it.
Yeah.
Setting up for it. It's last year especially. I was pretty much full-time volunteering. It was pretty stressful, but the satisfaction at the end and just the community, seeing everyone pull together and seeing it, go off and seeing all the money that was raised, it's pretty satisfying.
It may be stressful, but you hold it very well because I have video proof of you smiling on the Honda driving through campus.
Oh, that was so much fun though. It's hard not to.
So,
fun stress.
Well, that's how you get it out, is by driving the Honda.
Very good. So yeah, auction is right around the corner. If you have items or money you would like to donate towards that, please contact us today. July 15th is our deadline for money. Items would be another week after that. We're a little low on items at the moment, so any little bit will help, and you can contact us, myself, or really just the Gateway number, and somebody will direct you to the right person. As far as other needs, we obviously still have openings for house parents, a teacher, and then in Willowbridge, we are looking for a family to help support the Parkers. And you can find all that on our website at the careers page. But we look forward to seeing you next week.